Well, here we are back on air. Thank you for accepting us into your homes and on your gadgets. We don't take it for granted. This is the news review segment, and I'll be joined shortly by Maxwell Lukutor. He is candidate-elect, Member of Parliament-elect, well, I should say candidate-elect for South Tong. I always get that in a fuzz. He joins the conversation. But before I get to him, you see him there in the background. He's raring to go. This segment always brought to us by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering free prostate screening, free female fertility screening. Now, here's where you can locate them. Wherever you are, just make your way to their branches. Here in Accra, they're at Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Kronum Abwehia, behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrade Anaje State. There's Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Siamanzama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But not right now. We have Maxwell Lukutor, MP candidate-elect for South Tong. He joins the conversation. Maxwell, this title of yours, it gives me a lot of, but you have to go all MP candidate-elect. Just become, okay, so when you become MP, I think it will be simpler for me. I'll just take it from there. Max, good morning. You would have to unmute, Maxwell.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah. So I see
the parliamentary candidate-elect, not MP-elect.
No, I said MP candidate-elect. I corrected it and said MP candidate-elect for the NDC. So you are the candidate. You are the candidate for the NDC, right?
Parliamentary candidate-elect.
So I think moving forward, we'll just make it simple. Candidate for the NDC in that constituency, and then case closed. It'll be so.
Good morning and good morning.
It appears we're having some challenges with Maxwell. But in the interim, while we try to get Maxwell back, the connectivity, I know he may be in his constituency and sometimes it gets a bit patchy. But I'd like to find out from those of you watching, the latest developments in Israel and Palestine. I mean, I don't know whether some of you have, I know definitely some of you have, but whether the most of you watching this morning have followed that. It gives me a lot of trouble. For some of us in our studies, we've followed these conflicts for a long time. Intractable conflicts, as they are known in international circles. I want to know, what is your take about what has happened, the reprisal, the death toll, and everything in between? If you have a thought, let me know. You can also share your thoughts with me on the latest developments. The FBI collaborating with the OSP, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, to delve into the financial activities of Cecilia Abna-Dapa in the United States. The paper trail, basically. Let me know what your thoughts are on these two matters. But Maxwell, welcome back. What is your take on these two matters, briefly? Did you hear what I brought up?
Yes, good morning.
Right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, so before I go on to what's happening between Hamas and Israel in the Gaza Strip, may I send my sympathies once again to my constituents who have been ravaged by the spillage from the Akosombo Dam. And it's a terrible situation facing my people down there. The North Tong, Central Tong, and the South Tong. And unfortunately, South Tong is the closest to the sea. And the discharge from the Akosombo Dam ends in the sea. And so when the waters cannot go directly into the sea and it comes back, the first place it's pressed to is the South Tong constituency. And so my people in Dagbeve, Amutinu, Agome, and all areas along the Volta Lake, the other side of it also, I told you the other time that people who have cages within the water body got most of their fishes in the cages lost. And a lot of things, people have their farms now destroyed by the spillage of the water. And it's crazy. Yesterday, I drove to the constituency, the speed, the volume, and the intensity with which the water is flowing. You know the Sugakove Bridge.
Yeah.
You know the Sugakove Bridge.
Yeah.
When you're driving over the Volta River, crossing Asokwe to Sugakove, when you see the level of the water, how far it has risen up, and you see the aquatic waste in the water that has been cut off from the upstream coming down to downstream, and it's coagulating around the bridge.
But the bridge itself was not compromised, right? The bridge itself was not compromised. I'm only asking that because of what recently happened to the Dolly Bridge.
No, the bridge hasn't been compromised, but the level of water and how it's rising. And my point is that the aquatic waste that are getting coagulating around the bridge itself, I don't know what it may bring, whether it will make the level of the water rise further and further, is what I am getting scared about. And so VRA, the earlier they come back to help see what they can do to solve the problem, the better. Sincerely, they should have done better than they are doing, and we are seeing now. The level of education to our people has not gone down at all, because if they had educated the people much, because this village has been done over the years, and if they knew that the level they were going to release this year is far, far higher than they've been doing, our expectation is that at least they should call the community leaders, the MPs, the assembly members, the DCs, so that we can educate the people downstream there. Some of us are technical. We can see some levels that are so low, and would advise people to move upstream before this volume of water comes. And it's unfortunate that it's so close to the days before they release a news item for us to see. And it's so unfortunate we couldn't find time to go right and inform our people to get prepared. So they may have to come down. And another challenge is that, you see, when you go to Azizania, the sea brings out sand, and it gathers around where the river enters the sea. And so the responsibility lies on VRA to continually dredge this area so that there can be a free flow of water into the sea, which they don't do. That's also one of the problems. So the flowing of the water from the spillage into the sea is also another challenge. And so we want VRA to come down and solve their problem. And it's unfortunate that the amount of volume of water until our peak from Akosombo Dam itself means that there is so much volume of water to be spilled again. And sometimes the impunity with which they do this thing leaves a lot to be desired. Of course, I am amenable to the fact that if they don't spill, the dam may also be destroyed. But my problem is that they should get people informed. Once you know the volume you're going to spill, you can calculate how wide this water will go to the inland. And so you inform people to that extent so that they can get prepared for it.
Right.
It's so unfortunate, and I can't do anything but to sympathize with my people this morning.
All right. You spent quite a lot of time on that all-important matter, yes. So maybe let's get into the papers, and then later we can get into the Hamas and IDF or Israel as they slug it out in that region. But the Daily Graphic this morning, National Service Scheme ready for autonomy. We've heard Mr. President talk about the fact that it's ready to become an authority. 115 billion Ghana cedis goes into education, or has gone into education since 2017. SHSs take 12.96 billion. That's according to President Akufo-Addo as well. OSP FBI investigates Cecilia Dapa and give us mandate to purchase food for students. CHAS demands from government. On the back page, new shoe factory opens at Akosombo. It reminds me of the jute, the leather, the tannery, and all of those things under Nkrumah. But sometimes it's, I was watching this bit on YouTube recently. It goes all the way back to post-independence, right after independence, and Ghana. And what was said, there was this foreign show, I think from the UK or the US, and they were, talking about Ghana. Ghana was the focus. And it was so interesting, even the words. And they came down here, had interviews with people. There was this lady who was in charge of one of the newly formed governmental agencies. And here she was, even the English they spoke at the time, way back when, you compare it to our people today, and you ask yourself, where did everything go? Well, someday, hopefully, we catch up and do better. Robbers mistake bread for cash and return to kill pregnant woman. That is a really bad story. I think I'll start from there. Two robbers who mistook a loaf of bread wrapped in a handbag for a bundle of cash returned to kill the wife of their victim when they realized their booty was a mere breakfast staple. The robbers had attacked 42-year-old Raymond Suglo, a businessman, and his wife at Jang in the Nadoli Kaleo district in the Upper West region around 9:30 a.m. 9:30 p.m. last Monday. Mr. Suglo was returning from his shop when the robbers arrived on a motorbike wielding a gun and a machete. The couple managed to step into the confines of the room, but before they could lock up, the robbers engaged them in a battle to force the door open while their children were in the bedroom. During the process, the robbers shot through the door, injuring Mr. Suglo. The couple released their hold on the door. The robbers entered, demanded that the couple surrender their pricey possessions, including Mr. Suglo's sales from the shop. Then they took this item wrapped in the bag in the safe compartment of Mr. Suglo's motorbike, took it and bolted. They thought it was money. And when they realized it wasn't, they actually returned. And so just to get to that point, the robbers appear to have only realized belatedly that the handbag they carried from their robbery expedition contained only a loaf of bread that Mr. Suglo had brought home for his family. They returned. This is where, it gets me. They returned to the residence of Mr. Suglo, but could not meet him. In their frustration and anger, they shot and killed his pregnant wife, Mrs. Dorothy Suglo, and fled.
My brother, it's a terrible situation to behold. It's so unfortunate. The story would have been a comic one if it ended at where they went to find out that instead of money, it was bread. But the tragedy aspect is when they had to come back. The level of impunity, it's crazy. You come back to somebody you stole. It wasn't like he made you a promise that I'm going to give you money, maybe a ransom he was paying to. Instead of money, he brought you bread. For which reason you think you are emboldened enough to go back to him and kill him for deceit? He was holding his bag in his compartment. You decided to take it. He didn't tell you it was money. You took it away, found out that it was bread, and you had the guts to come back. This is the level of impunity we are seeing in the country today. Actually, yes, things are hot. People need cars. People need to move about and do things.
I mean, we all understand that town is extremely hot, but there's no justification for something like this.
Yes, my point is that I shouldn't get to yes. My point is that I shouldn't get to this stage where we begin to cut ourselves to maybe fry and eat. No, we shouldn't get to that stage. So even though things are so hard and terrible, this level of impunity and it's just bad. I don't even know how to describe it. It's so bad. I can't think about it. It's so terrible to hear this morning that a pregnant woman will be shot because you were looking for money from somebody you stole from's bag. You couldn't find, and you had to go back and kill him because you didn't get the money. It's so bad. It's so bad.
The police say, and I don't know whether initially when this happened, they had called the police, because then I would have said between the time when they made their getaway and then came back, I mean, if some report had been lodged, what was the timely intervention? Maybe that could have prevented something of this sort. But a police source says the regional command has mounted an intensive search for the robbers and urges the public to report anyone with a peculiar wound on the face. I think one of them actually got wounded. To Mr. Suglo and the family, our condolences. No one should go through something like this. There's also, the government has invested more than 114.5 billion Ghana cedis in the educational sector since 2017. President Akufo-Addo has disclosed. Out of the amount, he said 12.96 billion had been spent on senior high schools. Quote, at the senior high school alone, of which there are 925 schools, we have initiated a total of 1,105 projects, including accommodation, teaching and learning related projects from 2017 to date. In an almost 40-minute speech at the 61st annual conference of the heads of assisted secondary schools at the Achimota School in Accra yesterday, President Akufo-Addo said, quote, out of this, 406 are classroom blocks of various types, science, laboratories and home economic blocks, 386 dormitory blocks, 233 toilet facilities with 9 newly constructed model STEM SHSs spread across the country. Let me quickly get to page 13. An interesting matter there. And the Office of the Special Prosecutor has broadened its scope of investigations on a former Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources, Cecilia Dapa, by involving the Federal Bureau of Investigations of the United States of America. The anti-graft agency said the collaboration with the FBI was to enable it investigate certain activities of the former minister and her associates in the United States. And that's the story there. I'll just do something from the international front. You react, and then we leave the daily graphic. Liberia awaits election results with bated breath. And Liberians are waiting with bated breath as the National Elections Commission slowly receives and tallies results from 5,890 polling places for the October 10 presidential and legislative results, as representatives from different political parties observe and tally the votes. The 15 counties have 19 magistrates for the collation. And there's been some delay, which is attributable to the bad nature of roads, leading to hard-to-reach areas during a 6-month rainy season. Quick reflections on these?
Yeah, so we would be happy as Ghanaians to learn that the 115 billion that went into education since 2017 has yielded very, very positive results for all of us, because our children are involved and all that, our wards, our guardians are involved. But if it looks only like a political talk, we were all here, we saw what went into education, the free SHS, the double tracking, the troubles it brought, the issue from parents, from chats, from those who are involved directly in education. I was a board member in one of the biggest schools in the Volta region, Sogakope Senior High School. I was a board member. We know the challenges that we faced as a people. And so, yes, we would wish that things go well the way we expect it. I'm not sure at this moment anybody is strictly against the free SHS policy that we are experiencing. It's only the wish for most people that it is reviewed to take away most of the teething problems that we are experiencing. From the how much we spend on it, if we can look at it and make sure that those who may want to enjoy body facilities pay something for their feeding, because also feed themselves. So why should body students be fed for free, and those if they feed themselves, they also pay their own accommodation? So that is what some of us are looking forward for, where there will be a complete review so that most of these issues can be sorted out. Now, about the president touting the results that we are getting, it's unfortunate that it looks like he's comparing mangoes and apples, because hitherto we were under the West Africa Examination Council WAEC, and now it is like the Ghana version of that education. And if you see the way things go, the way past questions and answers were bought for students to just read and go write their exams and pass without textbooks being provided to the schools, the way the examination or practices that we experienced over the period, the way some teachers who are supervisors have been compromised to help the students, it's so unfortunate that we experienced those things, and out of which the results we got are what the president is touting now. I'm not sure there are things we will all be happy about. And so let us be more serious and realistic. It shouldn't only be that the president wants these results to beat his chest, for which reason he's doing this. And so going forward, let us all, as people who have been affected by these things, sit up and make sure we do our best. The Cecilia Dapa case, which has taken an international turn, makes it very interesting. And it makes nonsense of what the president said initially when Cecilia Dapa wanted to resign, saying that at the end of the day, he's confident that she's going to put through this. And now that the FBI itself is also
but he has a right to express his opinion, right?
No, of course he has. But why should he preempt an investigative procedure that is going to be undertaken as the president of the land? Why should you preempt it? Monies have been found in somebody's home illegally, and as the president, you just end to say that I wish you well in your endeavor. Why would you continue to say that you know that you put through this situation? For me, is the preempting of the seat coming in means that it's more serious. And the attack she gave to the other lawyer, Martin Pebu, in court yesterday
let me just put this out there. Martin shared on social media. I wish I could find the bit to read for you. He says the picture that was put out has been misconstrued by many people. Just since you started on that trajectory, let me let you know. I will quickly get to that. But basically, he suggests that the picture it paints a picture that isn't the case, and that they were not having any banter. Okay, so I think there it is. Okay, I've seen the story, but not the tweets or the post on social media. I'll look for that and read it out. But basically, he says that it's 1,000 words. I found it now. So here's what he posted. He says, "Me then Cecilia Dapa no get fight too. I have seen pictures of us in the corridor of the courthouse today." That was yesterday. "The interaction was not as bad as the picture portrays. Madam Dapa and I are cool. Naturally, she is going through a lot, so she only sought to quiz me about my commentary on her case. She has a right to ask. There was no showdown." So I think he himself has clarified what happened yesterday.
Yeah, so my point is that this level of entitlement of some people, especially we are seeing in the MPP gurus, as if own Ghana and anything that happens, they can stop everybody in their track from making commentary. Look at what happened at UTV, a TV station doing its own thing, and you have the gut to bump in and to stop them that they are turning a showbiz program into a political show and all that. And Cecilia Dapa confronting Martin Kpebu, whether it was as bad as the picture or not. I was in court, I only saw the picture, and I read that she confronted him. For me, what gives her that boldness to want to confront Martin Kpebu as to what commentary he should run around the case or not? That's my point.
So but she's merely saying that you've been, she's not necessarily accosting him about the legal process. She's merely saying, okay, so you've been passing comments about, my case in court, but maybe this or that. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? I mean, if you found someone who had been, there are people who sometimes come up to me and say, I heard you talk about this, and I am the person you are referring to, but this and that. It's okay. It can be a convivial conversation. But of course, when threats or other things come in, that is when it becomes problematic. And according to Martin Kpebu, that did not happen.
Ben, my point is that when these people feel that they can gag everybody from speaking freely, whilst we have the freedom of speech bill passed, and now you can say whatever you wish to, the commentary you can run around. If she has the right to keep so much money in her home, why does Martin Kpebu not have the right to talk about why she should keep so much in her home?
Let's get into other stories. We have less than 10 minutes to go. Unless there's something else you would have wanted to say, Max?
No, let's go to the next.
All right. So the Ghanaian Times newspaper, STEM education, government targets Ghana as leader in Africa, rolls out programs for groundbreaking projects to achieve goal. I think we've heard a lot about the STEM projects in the country and the way forward. But this interesting one, 61 aggrieved customers of former Gold Coast Securities picket, but SEC appeals for calm. There's also Nyaho Tamaklo Nunu Mensah urged government to address social unrest ahead of 2024 election. Two of my uncle or father figures, if you like. Nyaho Tamaklo, you know him, and then Nunu Mensah. Both of them urging government to address social unrest ahead of 2024 election. There's also GHS records 40,716 mental health cases in 6 months. 40,716 in 6 months, mental health cases. And then FC confiscates assorted bushmeat from Chop Bar and traders. So let me do two stories. The Wildlife Division of the Forestry Commission yesterday confiscated assorted bushmeat from chop bars and traders during an operation in the central region towns of Senyabreku, Winneba, and Mankesim. These included, guess what? Monitor lizards, royal antelopes, both endangered species, bush rats, and bats, squirrels, and duiker. Now, I don't know, but some of these, our protection mechanisms for wildlife in the country are just something else. And you talk about some of these bats and other things they are catching. You know that usually Ebola and the rest, that is how we get them. And people will not stop. Anyway, the 3-day joint operation, which is being organized by the Forestry Commission and the police, service forms part of an exercise to ensure operators comply with a closed season on wildlife farming. Then I'll go to page 14 and let you come in, Maxwell, page 14. Here we go. Founding member of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, has urged government to address social unrest currently ongoing in the country. Quoting him, he says, "We need to be on the alert knowing that there are constant military overthrows in Africa. The very reasons these coups d'etats are happening in Africa are also being experienced in this country. So the government should address these important matters as we head into 2024 as an electoral year." And of course, he shared all of these thoughts together with General Nunu Mensah, both of them talking about how bad things are and how much change must be brought to bear. Inflation is also down to 38.1%. Quick thoughts. Maxwell, over to you, sir. Okay, I think we've lost Maxwell there, but I'll just check the live feed for any comments you may have. I posed some questions. I don't know whether there are any responses yet. Koblai Yomeso, what you're saying, I shudder to read, though you're talking about protecting ourselves. But if we all did that, then we would have a situation maybe akin to what is in the United States, but without their own policies and regulations there. So I'll refrain from reading your message for now. And then maybe I'll take the story from page 12. Maxwell, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so like I was saying, I'll start from the STEM. It's always whether it should be STEM or STEAM. STEAM means that art
you want to add the arts.
The STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Right.
Yeah, so it's always been a fight. I know one professor whose son has been fighting government to add the A, which is the arts. And so, like, I want to say it shouldn't be also a lip service being paid to establish a center, and up to now it's not found the light of day. And so we shouldn't just be talking about these things. The Minister of Education is fond of talking and touting policies, but it doesn't get to the ground. So let us seriously work on this. Now, about the new NASA that we have in Ghana, Mensah Nunu and then Nyaho Tamaklo, elder statesmen who have been part of the MPP government and they are still part. And so for me, it is time government listens to these people and shouldn't take things for granted. The demonstrations that we are experiencing are here, they fix the country, and the other one will be having a daily demonstration in December. And so the earlier some of the issues they raise are resolved, the better it is for all of us in the country, because it is not a good spectacle for us to behold every now and then seeing people on the street. And it looks like government doesn't care a hoot about the concerns being raised. They are only interested in preventing the demonstrators from venting their spleen and also making public their concerns. And when you continue to do that, they may find other ways to do the same thing. And so I think the call from Nyaho Tamaklo and Mensah Nunu is a timely one that government would have to look at and make sure that things are resolved, and so that we have some kind of sanity going to the 2024 elections.
All right. There's an interesting, my apologies, there's an interesting editorial here on page 4 of media hubris. That is, if you like, pride or arrogance. Hoodlums, GJA and NCCE. It's an interesting story in the Daily Guide newspaper. No surprises there. And you could take a look at that story if you grab a copy of the paper and share your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that you see these days people talk as if media is rather the problem. They don't see themselves as a problem. They always shifting their goalposts. It's interesting. Since when have we come to realize that media hooliganism is our problem? Why people can't speak? People can't freely talk. Why? And the entertainment industry, people in the entertainment industry, so they should only go and sing, dance, and entertain us. They can't take a bite on what goes on in our political life. What kind of attitude and mentality is MPP bringing to us now? It's unfortunate. It's only the Daily Galaxy.
So if I may read a portion of it, it just says, it is sad that the Ghana Journalists Association, the umbrella professional body of journalists, seems to have developed such a posture that nobody dares to question the propriety of media reportage. That is what they are saying. I don't know where that exists, but that is what... Hold for me, Maxwell.
It looks like I've lost track of the constitutional mandate that gives you the autonomy to do your work without censorship. I don't know where they are reading these things from. And
well,
it's unfortunate is he a senior journalist, now the Minister of Information, and he seems to be playing to the gallery, and it's unfortunate what politics can do to people. So, he was a fine gentleman on Joy, and today he's the one who
let's not attack the person of the information minister. I
am not attacking. I'm only talking about the thinking of Ghanaians, that because he has been part of you, he should have done you better.
Right.
Because why should he today say that somebody should not have his day? What did he not do?
This piece, Maxwell, we have limited time. This piece, though, is not from the information minister. It's an editorial. But the person adds, such a mindset is dangerous from the GJA, whose mandates, besides ensuring the welfare of media practitioners, includes the promotion of the highest journalistic standards. Well, Daily Guide, we thank you for having the highest journalistic standards. I'll leave it there. I will accept result of Liberia election. He has said that the peace of the country, Liberia, is above his personal gain or whatever he may stand for. But a spokesperson for him insisted that he was going to win the election. Ethiopia's top student on excelling in exam that only 3% passed. Now, this has shocked everybody. This is the grade 12 exam, which allows them to get into university. Only 3.2% passed. That is 27,000 out of 815,000. Ghana School of Law, don't get any ideas. And she was the top student. That has left Ethiopia in shock. But the other one I just wanted to add, 13 hospitalized over food poisoning, and 13 people have been rushed to the hospital after allegedly eating suspected contaminated food. The victims reportedly consumed wache and at Achidia in the Asante Achim municipality. Please, even as we all, go out there and grab something to eat. I think I shared over a year ago how food poisoning nearly took my life. I was virtually, it was just disastrous. So please, watch what you eat. And in some places, I know now that because of the price of gas and maybe even charcoal, they will not cook food properly, finish cooking it and all of that. Please, take care of yourself. Watch what you eat. And let me just add this. For many days, I didn't have lights. The ECG decided to do. Thankfully, I just want to say, now that the light is back, thankfully, yesterday, ECG officials came to my place, and I've spoken to some others, including the cameraman from here yesterday, who indicated that his light was back. But guess what? After they brought back the lights, then later there was a power outage in my neighborhood, and I was asking myself, I think they really want to get me, but the power came back after about 30 minutes. So ECG, I am thankful. Thank you for bringing back my lights. All right, Maxwell, you have the final word. I don't think we have time for Israel and Hamas. We'll leave that for some other time. Some 30 seconds and then we go.
Yeah, 30 seconds. Our lights are off in South Town because the power substation that provides lights to all of us has also been flooded. Can you imagine?
Oh, wow. So they've had to take it because else lives will be lost and the power station will be lost as well.
Yes, the power is off because the ECG substation has also been flooded. And so they may want to look for some quick recovery situation to make sure that light is restored to our people. If not, it will be from bad to worse. We are already experiencing flood and then lights are also off. So it's double agony. I pray and I sympathize with my people who have been affected. I pray that NADMO, which has nothing I do, but I know they will turn things around and make sure that something is provided to these people to at least alleviate the problems which we have.
Maxwell, thank you so much for joining the conversation this morning. Maxwell Lukoto, he is MP candidate-elect for the NDC in South Tong. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Let me just do this. Today happens to be World Sight Day. And there is some free eye screening going on. I'm just sharing with you at the Oblogo Health. So it's actually at the Wejagbawe Municipal Hospital today. Wejagbawe Municipal Hospital, and it's for free. So just pass by and get your eyes checked. I also have a bit of a birthday request this morning. So there is happy birthday to Patrick Kwesi Brako Kumo, MCE for Wejagbawe. Interesting, because this is happening in your area today, World Sight Day. Happy birthday to you, Patrick Kwesi Brako Kumo, MCE for Wejagbawe. God bless you. That is from Echo Sam, my producer, and the entire team. Before we go, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helped us bring you this segment. They're offering free prostate screening for men, free fertility screening for women. Locate them here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronomba here behind the Angel Educational Complex, the Stakrade Anaji State Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Siaman Zama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Ladies and gentlemen, Ghana for Sports is up next.